And here we are, welcome everybody for tonight's round at Bathurst. And here we are for the round number 4 of the FRL Masters League. Here it is the silver category, which is with the usual grey numberplate going up the hill in very likely the most difficult and intense racetrack there is on, certainly on the southern hemisphere. But I really feel like this is actually harder than Roche Life, mostly because of the fact that it's usually a sprint race, and you really have the walls even closer than in Nürburgring. In fact, this is practically a circuit being made on normal roads. It's theoretically it is a street circuit, this one here. As I'm going here, okay, way better. Everything is working perfectly, which is the first time in roughly 32 years. I'm quite lucky. I'll be honest. I don't think it's just thanks to me. I just think it's thanks to sheer luck. But anyway, the first cars that are going to cross the line are going to be the 444 and the Porsche behind it, number 12. And for tonight there are 27 drivers and quite a few number of cars around the grid. 24 minutes of qualifying, roughly, on which the first 12 are for the silver and the final 12 are for the pro class. But here we are with a little preview of the circuit, as the turn number 2 is Griffin's Bend. Usually brake just at the very edge there of the curb. Over the curb on the left into the cutting. This is quite honestly as always a very interesting place. I would like to say on which you can make an overtake, but practically the entirety of the racetrack is off limits in terms of racetrack, if not for the chase section, which is turn 20, 21, 22, which practically is the final part of the straight line. There was a big wobble for the Dorzov in the Aston, and I really think the lap is not even a valid one since he tapped the wall. So I guess we'll go with Doyle here in the grey and lime car. Bathurst is one of those tracks where you really have to throw the car and practically hope for the best, that everything works. This is also the place where you reach the highest speed, 280 km per hour. Ooh, that's a huge mistake by Nedorzov there. In fact, he's already into the pit. Obviously, any single mistake in qualifying matters a lot, since you really have less than 6 laps to make your way, of which one is also the out lap. So effectively you just have 4 laps on the racetrack to put a race, well, a qualifying lap time. And for now Doyle is the fastest car with 2 minutes and 8, and Jordan follows in the Ford Mustang in a 1:05 in a 2 minutes and 9 tenths. The Schneidman is in a Ferrari 59, which seems crossing the line now in 4th place. 3.5, now 5.5 tenths away, since David Hill for Amigos Racing Team, after the debacle of the Nordschleife, is now here to try to put a rock over those results and put a better performance. Very interestingly, Doyle is very close to make it in pole in class. This would be a very nice achievement for the British driver. Onto the most difficult part, and also the most beautiful part. You have only the walls protecting you, and if you make a mistake, there is no coming back. Jordan also into the pits, so that will be quite a problem for the Ford driver, since he now has 2 laps only to put a lap time, if he's quick enough. Okay, he is indeed quick enough. 2 cars didn't put a lap yet. Those are the triple four in 23rd, and the one it's 6 Ford in 25th place out of the 27 cars. But Doyle here is absolutely throwing the car as much as possible, putting a 2 minute point 0.3 as he goes back into the pits. So only 2 laps of fuel for him. But David Hill here in currently 2nd place, and from what I see, only Schneidman has a chance to put it in front of him, and in fact he does. He goes in 2nd place. But Hill here is about to complete the lap, and he has a 6 times advantage over himself. So this could also be a sub 2 minutes. He doesn't go sub 2 minutes, but he makes a 2:00.090, which is extremely close to a pro lap time, to be fair. As I think the pro's lap time could be around the 59.6. I honestly doubt anything else could come out of it. So this will put Hill actually on a very interesting position in the overall standings. But for now, still only 2 cars are missing from the standings. As seems also very close to the wall there. He is 1.1 seconds away from pole, but he is improving himself, and he could get at the very least in the top 5. But before him is Adam Forbes in the McLaren number 2 for the Assetto Racing Team in number 2 here in 7th place currently in class, and therefore overall, at least for the next 5 minutes. He is certainly putting a better lap than earlier on. He is on a very nice half-second improvement, even more. That's 8 tenths nearly on himself. This will put him in 3rd, so a jump of roughly 7 positions. As Sims here is about to cross the line for Kessel Racing, and he goes on to put it in 5th. Not the best Ferrari, as Schneidman is still in 4th place, as Forbes is now exiting the pits. You can see him here. He just has 1 single lap, so he has to be quick, as he will not have a second chance, since he will cross the line at the second lap with 11 minutes to go, which is out of bounds in terms of timing. Oh, that was extremely close. In fact, he lost a lot of time there. He was roughly 3 times better than himself, and you can see, not here, I think here, yes, you can see the tap on the wall, which happened with the rear quarter panel. He now goes over the corner straight, which is nearly 2 kilometers long. Although this track has a quite important twisty zone, it also has 2 massive straight lines for a grand total of 3 kilometers on a track which is 6 kilometers long. So half the track is actually full throttle in a straight line, which is crazy to be thought about, and only 5 milliseconds away from Hill. Schneidmann, only because of that contact with the wall, doesn't go in pole. He remains behind Hill, and now has to do the same, practically the same exact lap, if not for that he would have been in pole. So he just has to do the same all over again without a tap on the wall, and those 5 milliseconds could really be an easy goal, as the 105 for the Mustang is even him, Matt Jordan, very close to submit a very important lap time in the silver class. This could be a three-way fight for pole. In a field which usually sees Hill simply positions away from everybody else, this could be the time where we have 3 different cars in practically the same 10th, and in fact it goes just a 10th quicker than Schneidmann in pole position in class. 1:59.995, the first lap time under 2 minutes, as Schneidmann will not improve his time, he will stay behind, and so Hill, I think Hill is already too late for, oh no, okay, Hill is on his lap time, but he is practically on the edge of the improvement. Jordan 2 will go into the pits, so now he only has the chance to improve himself, but I don't think that will happen, as he is quite behind, 4 tenths away, so definitely that's not what will happen, as this puts the end on the pole fight, with Matt Jordan being in pole, and if the race control isn't wrong, which it might be, in fact he goes into the pits, so Hill will start from second place, Schneidmann will be in second row, side by side with Doyle, as Lammers also still has to complete the qualifying session, so at the very least he could jump Doyle as his current lap time, unless the final corner was a complete mess in the first run. This will be a jump in 4th place, 2 times away from Jordan, as Kasitach will be the first car on the line to start a valid one in terms of lap time, and behind him there is the Honda of Whitburn. Cassitage will be the first car in Pro Class to put a lap time. I really think that 59.9 is actually quite hard to beat. It's not really... Oh, that's a lot of lag for the Ferrari driver. Yeah, that's a lot of lag. If there is a track where you don't want someone to lag, it is this one, because a single tap could literally create a mess so large that could take out the 50% of the field, I guess. I was supposed to say the full field, but it's a bit too much even that. It's not NASCAR levels. As Whitburn is into the pits, so something really happened here. I am actually curious about it. I want to see what happened. So he was going downhill. Oh, he lost the rear. Oh, he definitely lost the rear. And ooh, that's not good. Oh, there was a car too. There was another car. I thought it was Illigner. It was Illigner. So this actually hurts massively Whitburn's confidence. Because if there was a moment to make a mistake, definitely this wasn't one of those. I had a little stroke for a moment. This certainly wasn't one of those. And very likely that could be... Mustang is OP. Yes, it is OP. In a track where 50% of the racetrack is straight, the Mustang really has an advantage, as Benjamin Eck is now in first and Dan Vaz follows, as Sadlowski actually tops the qualifying session with an absurd amount of time in his reserves. 4 temps. The Mustang is OP. It is definitely OP. No, please don't. Wait for the last one at the very least. If you want to win it, at least do it at the very final lap, where you have some advantage to cover yourself with. Resvik in the BMW 501. So very odd situation here. There is a nearly all of the first 5 spots are being taken by a BMW, except one. As the Mustang here is just 15 milliseconds away from Resvik. The Ferrari is... well, I will say in trouble. And Keenan, surprisingly, is not having a good time. He didn't really put a very good time in the first run. He invalidated the second run, possibly by cutting the course or tapping the wall. And so he is 15th. But for now, Sadlowski is the car that could put an end to the German manufacturer's run, as 4 out of 5 cars at the top are Beamers. But definitely the Mustang here is certainly having a little advantage. Obviously just qualifying, but this is actually one of those tracks where you really don't... Ooh, that's a very good one! 59.1! Way above my greatest expectations with these cars. I thought a 59.4 was the maximum achievable, and all of a sudden Sadlowski completely destroys my statements. Great, I love it. But as I was saying, you really don't care about the twisty section, because that 50% of the time, if you are in front, you will stay in front. You can't really overtake, and the other 50% is just an overtaking zone. So the Mustang has the practically certain chance of victory. Until Sadlowski doesn't put the car into the wall and calls it a day. Oh, he just did now! Whew, that was a bit too much even for him. You can see it back, and another car taps the wall. You can see here going sideways a bit and tapping the quarter panel on the left. This hurts confidence. It doesn't really help and Whitburn is just now about to cross the line for a valid lap time. After the first contact into the wall, it does so by going in 4th, as his victim is in 6th, 3 milliseconds away from Eck. Satori is not on a valid lap time, and Kian is still here in 17th. As though I really think this will be the jump in the leaderboard. It's going to be a 3rd. It's a 2nd row for the Aston Martin 78. 2.5 times away from pole. But for now, the situation is quite different from... not really, it's actually exactly as I thought. So the Ferrari completely struggling in the middle of nowhere, since it really doesn't have acceleration, that car there. As Rochelle goes in 8th place for DXC Motorsport. Aston Martin has an absurd speed. And so it is said, mostly because of the speed trap, which reads 288 for Sedlowski. Then we have a 286 for both Illigner and Whitburn. There's actually a 287 for the Ferrari, because it actually reaches a very high speed, but it takes some time. So at the beginning you're a bit of a sitting duck, and then you have to wait. Because it's clear that Porsche is struggling a good amount, not too much, as we saw with Doyle. But at the same time, it's very certain that the Mustang is the one in the best position, as Whitburn goes in 2nd place, 1/10 away from Sadlowski. So BMW in 3rd now, which will not have a valid one. Something happened here for Evsvik. Oh, that's a huge hit into the wall. Yep. That's definitely not good. So another victim in into the query corner. Oh, for now the Honda. Here. Oh, Keenan just crosses the line, and never mind what I was about to say, because Watts puts the car below the 58. Below the 59 into the 58. As I was saying, Keenan actually scored a perfectly exact lap time with Sedlowski. The only difference is that he did it after the Ford Mustang, so he will be scored in 3rd rather than in 2nd. So it's a very close qualifying session here. Among the first 5, yeah, the first 5 cars, and then there is a huge jump to get into Illigner, Rochelle, Senatore and Eck. Then there is another jump for the silver class, being composed by Jordan, Hillich, Neidman, and practically these are the main groups for today's race, although Whitburn is about to destroy the lap time. I will not say the exact amount of time he is gaining, but he is about to demolishing Dan Watts 58.9. It could very well be the perfect lap for Whitburn, as he goes in a 58 point, practically 797, so it's practically a 58.8, but he still has one shot, 10 seconds away from the end of the qualifying session, as Sedlowski too has a final shot. He needs around a 10.5 to get into Watts, who is into the pits, possibly knowing that that was a good lap, and there isn't much to do. Keenan also into the pits, so even for him it's over. Eck was gaining a good chunk of time, and then he lost it all. Senatore is also close to improve his situation. He could jump 2 places, but that will be the maximum achievable since he needs 3 tenths to get into X hills, and even then there is another tenth to get into Rebsvik. As Veldman goes into 10th place, the very tail end of the qualifying session. Senatore which improves slightly. 59.610, but it's not much to work with. For Sedlovsky here, it's going to be slightly different. He is on the verge to at least make a position, but maybe, just maybe, he could make 2. He just made a mistake there. That's a lot of lag for a brief moment. But the chance to get into 2nd place is high. He just needs that tiny bit, and he does so. He goes in 2nd place and he goes in the 1st row. It's not the fact that he's a position in front, it's the fact that he has just 1 car to fight with, and it's the Honda, and it's not the BMW. Because in a speed trap, BMW actually is lower on speed, but that would have been a problem in terms of the twisty section, since the BMW is actually quite grippy. But with 3 minutes to go, no, give me this, with this, with this, with this, the usual. This thing always resets. I give up at this point. No, this is the wrong one. Do this. Okay. So here we are. So for today, it's going to be a larger pack than in the Nordschleife. It's going to be 27 cars, and we have Whitburn in pole. Sedlovsky follows in 2nd place in the Ford Mustang. Then there is Watts and Keenan 3rd and 4th. Resvik is in 5th, and Eck is in 6th, with then Illigner and Senatore are 7th and 8th. The BMW on your right is Russell, with Campos alongside him. Velman is in 11th, and then Jordan is your silver pole sitter, with Nergard only 13th. So very odd performance from the Norwegian driver. Hill in 14th, with Nightman in 15th. Cassitrash follows in 16th, last of the Pro Class, with Lammers in the Bentley, Doyle in the Porsche, and Forbes in the McLaren. 4th is the Ford Mustang in 20th place, with Corvin and Chris Schneider following. Then Sims, Brown, and Dorizov, Striker, it depends on the nationality, and Whitburn. So it's Dutch, so I suppose it is Striker. I'm not really sure about that, to be fair. I'm not really into Dutch. So we'll go with the pole sitter for today's round, as Sedlovsky has a clear chance to make a very good impression on the field. 26 seconds before the formation lap. Here we go, a little chat about the track. The first corner is hell corner, 90-degree left-hander. Then you practically jump on the curb on your right as much as possible, but not too much, otherwise you ruin your run in the first long straight. It's the mountain straight, which, as the name suggests, directs you into the mountain. 1 kilometer and 100 meters into Griffin's Bend. Track which is usually famous for the Bathurst 12 hours, but also for the V8 Supercars Championship, the main Australian venue in terms of motorsport, as we go into Griffin's Bend here, of which their main winner, Shane van Gisbergen, is now fighting in the playoff in Xfinity in the NASCAR series, and next year is going to be a ride in the Cup series with Trackhouse Racing, and there is always that little dream for a NASCAR race to get into the Asian continent, well, or rather the Australian is a bit impossible, but that's a huge argument that goes behind into the Pacific, around in Suzuka and etc, etc. But anyway, we just passed Quarry Corner, Rail Park and Frog Hollow, this one here, to get into Sulman Park. Turn 9 and 10, this one here with McPhillamy, no, why do Australians have so difficult names? McPhillamy Park, okay, I did it, too good. Skyline is this one here, Skyline, because it's the highest point of the entire racetrack. Turn 11, then 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, the Dipper. The most dangerous part of the circuit, on which Whitburn, ironically, crashed in his first attempt, and then he had a bit of a low on confidence in the first laps, but gained it back at the very end of the qualifying session, putting it in first. Then Forest Elbow, turn 18, usually you do it in second gear, and then it's the Conroe Straight, 1.9 kilometers long into the chase, 20-21-22. It's nearly 2 minutes, but this track has less turns than Spa, and it's way more dangerous. And somehow there are multi-class racing. There is multi-class racing in this track. So I think we just passed the house, which is on Airbnb. Because yes, you could, if you wanted, rent a house for your vacation in this track, which is fantastic. 2021-22 is the chase. 20 it was the one behind. 2022 is this one here, which is a left-hander 90 degree, and then 22 it's a right-hander. But now it's going to be the very start of the 60 minutes round, on which we have an Honda and a Mustang in the front row. They just have to resist the incursions from behind in the technical zone, and then they are free to go. But it's going to be the start of the Bathurst 60 minutes. And green light, and away we go with a very good start by Wilbur. Sadowski a bit stopped in comparison, but tried to go into the inside, failed to do so, and nearly puts Keenan on the grass. And in front of him, as the RTO team tries to have an advantage, and in fact Vats has the bump draft from Resvik, who is now in 4th, since he also nearly overtook Keenan, but he stays on the inside, which gives Eck the chance to make it inside, and in fact he gets hit with the overtake by the green BMW. And Resvik is now in 6th place, with Senatore very close to putting it in front of him. Vernon loses the place on Russell, which is now behind Campos in 9th place. But here Keenan and Eck and all this train is okay. This is absurd. You can see already Whitburn being 1.5 seconds away from Sadlowski. Just putting in perspective how easy it is for the Honda to fly away. But how easy it will be for Sedlowski to catch it back, since this car practically gains back everything on the main straight, going to the top speed in roughly 6 seconds. I wish I was joking, but now that I think about it, it's actually quite possible. Look at this! It's absurd! This doesn't make any sense in a physical way. The Mustang already has a second of advantage over Watts, who now has to rely on himself since he practically lost the draft on the first lap. Not really because of any lack of skill from the BMW driver, it's actually quite the opposite. It's more because of the fact that Ford is simply embarrassing on a straight line and brings the gap to 1 second in the matter of 2 straights. The flow of car... Oh, there is a possible switch there between Illigner and Senatore for 7th place. Still behind Revsik, who is now trying to make the position on the outside of Eck. This will not happen, he will stay behind, tries the switch back. There is a little contact. Oh, there is a huge contact, and Eck is off into the barriers. Now in 8th place, 9th, 10th, and then 11th, in even 12th. We can have a better look after. I think as Revsik also lost the position on Senatore, who is now in 5th place. As you can see here, Eck tries to get back the position on at least Veltman, but he doesn't succeed in doing so, as Revsik is now behind Senatore. We can have a look of it. From here, you can see the BMW slowing down a bit too much, and Senatore going over the inside and making a place for himself, and it was nearly the same. Oh, there is a huge jump for... Oh, Veltman is off. Oh, there is another car off into the barrier. It's the Ford which crashed into the barriers. We can have a better look at it. Oh, it was Veltman going over the curb, losing completely the car. Oh, it was a contact with the Ford, which tried to get a position on the outside and crashed head on into the barriers. But now it's going to be the battle for position here in 8th place, as Campos has to endure the attacks from the BMW behind. But there is Eck going over the inside of Russell for 9th place. So Russell changed his status from being the chaser to being chased to being overtaken directly. Speaking of Eck, I think we could have a look at what happened there behind. Oh, it's already too late. No, this is the move. You can see the number 501 trying it inside, tapping slightly Eck, but by doing so actually didn't gain any position, since Senatore is now in 5th place. Jordan also created a big gap as Hill and Schneider are battling for position number 19. With Hill, who lost a good chunk of positions, likely for a mistake, which unfortunately I didn't cover. The switchback happens there on the outside. The BMW goes, nearly a contact between the two cars, still side by side over the uphill section, and it's going to be very close between the two, with the McLaren still side by side. There is a train of cars behind waiting for it to end, and it's going to be Hill after a good... Oh, Christian is off into the gravel. And unfortunately, he is now at the very end of the pack. You can see him going over the curb a bit too much and a bit into the barrier and then stopping on the gravel. No damage for the BMW car, but it's going to be quite a problem there. As here, there has been the jump in the lead, with the Ford Mustang simply having roughly 20 kilometers per hour more than the Honda. On the outside he goes, and this is the overtake for the lead. So Sedlowski, as I said earlier, practically delivering a certain win for the American brand. Now has to stay in front in the technical zone, and it's going to be easy for the Mustang to stay in front of the Honda. I really apologize for this time in which I didn't cover the battle for the lead. It usually doesn't happen. This time it was a bit of a chain reaction of events. This trio here is still battling for 5th place. Senatore gained 2 places from the start of the race. But he lost 6 races. Oh, Williger nearly putting the car onto the wall. As I was saying, unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the car 555. I suppose a mistake without damage. But my idea is a lounge in the gravel in McPhillamy Park. As this trio remains the same for now, Campos and Eck actually switch positions, with Campos losing the place on the BMW practically at the very start of the main straight, and that's going to be Eck in 9th. Oh, Wellman, something happened here to the... Oh, something happened in a very odd spot, if I have to say. So he made contact with the wall and then crashed into the wall once more. As he now goes into the pits directly. So for now this trio remains in same places. Sadlowski already has a ridiculous advantage over Whitburn. Although it must be said, it's not only because of the Ford, obviously. Sadlowski in this round was also very good on his own. Certainly the car is helping. I mainly say this because he clearly has the fastest lap of the race so far, 59.2, compared to a 59.8 for Whitburn. But even on himself, he put a 59.4. So it's clear that actually he is delivering it. And as I said it earlier, it's only his race to lose. As Campos here is getting targeted by Russell. As he goes on the right of the Ferrari driver, but it's outside on the... Oh, there is a contact and the Ferrari is off, and also spinning in the middle of the racetrack. That is going to be a possible penalty for Russell. As you can see here, a little contact between the two, and then the BMW driver simply went on with his race. As Campos is now into the pits. As Lammers is now in 2nd place. I thought there was an overtake between Schneiderman and Lammers. I'm not completely sure. But back to this here. Reswick clearly is faster than Senatore, but they are losing time. 3.2 seconds already between Keenan and Senatore. Oh, little tap on the wall. It's clear that Senatore is trying to defend the position as much as possible, nearly losing the rear on the happy section. But you can see here He is defending as much as possible since he probably knows that this is the best position he can achieve on pace alone. Oh, Willinger taps the wall on the outside. But until he resists on the straights, he stays in front. Unless a stupid move happens here. Well, stupid in terms of mentality. Because you can do it here, trust me. I think now that I think about it, in English saying stupid is not like in Italian. Because we have this like way of saying that it's a bit complicated. Anyway, I have to remember sometimes that the word stupid in English is way stronger than in Italian. For now, rFactor remains behind, the Norwegian is still there and can't really pass, although you can see Senatore is practically sliding every single turn. 59.632 for Sedlowski, 59.627 for Whitburn, so it's quite clear that actually the car works. Whitburn unfortunately is into the wall. So he goes on the left hand and loses the rear. And can't really make anything out of the mistake. Unfortunately, he is now 12 seconds behind Chris Schneider in 23rd place. Oh, that's a huge hit for rFactor, putting the side of it. Oh, he's off into the wall. Oh, I think it's a... Oh, completed DNF! Nearly! Two cars colliding with them! So you can see here, going on the curb, losing the rear, putting the car straight into the wall, and then you can see behind, two cars didn't see the beam, nearly colliding with them, where the photo of Jordan and the beam... Ooh, there's another contact there. I think it was Cassitarash going into the wall all of a sudden after the hairpin. So you can see going into the walls likely. Oh no, this is just a lot of lag. As Forbes here is very close to the Porsche in front. Doyle is currently in 4th place in class. And he is trying to defend against the McLaren behind. So Bellman seems repaired the car and went back on the racetrack. They are likely hoping to gain back those places in clean air. Bellman's last lap was a 2:01.5. So for now, not really the same page as the ones in front. The McLaren can't really do anything even here. Ooh, something happened there. Something happened to Sedlowski. You can see the gap is now very little. You can see we lost. Oh, he completely lost the car there. Whew. And then went also into the wall once more. And that was Whitburn passing through for position number 1. So a mistake, a quite heavy mistake, puts Sedlowski back in 2nd place. And likely with some damage that has to be repaired. 201.3, he lost practically 2 seconds from his usual lap times for that mistake in the chase, so he survived cutting the skyline and then tapped the wall, luckily not too heavily, but still it will be a bit of damage in the top speed, as the 1T2 now has to get back the position with the help of its top speed proficiency. This shouldn't be a huge problem. Snellgaard is now in 18th place. Since he's actually started from 27th from the grid, I actually didn't see he started from the pit lane. And he's now recovering the positions in 18th place now. Trying the best possible. Obviously his aim at this point is getting as many positions as possible and to survive. Since already both Osorio and one of the RTO cars left the race. As the Repsvik crashed in the very top of the mountain into the barriers after staying behind Senatore for the entirety of the race so far, until that point rather. So for now it's 2-3 for RTO. Unfortunately it could have been better, but the two BMW behind Vats certainly didn't have any luck. 59.867, 1/10 has been gained on Wisborne, so it's quite clear that Sedlovski's mistake was an isolated event, but unfortunately he did it on the worst possible moment. Because if he would have done it a bit later, he would have stayed in the top spot. So go as close as possible to the barriers. A bit too much here. It was very close. As Whitman goes a bit wider, so the chances are still there. And none of these, actually Vats is there. I'm saying this because the last lap for Vats was exactly 1:59.867, which is the same exact lap time being posted by Sedlovski in this lap. So both the cars actually gained a tiny bit on Whitburn, although this straight line speed is what is destroying Whitburn's gap. Obviously, the undercut here will be tremendously efficient. As a matter of fact, you could practically go in the pits now, gain some time, and stay there in front without any issue. As Forbes just lost a place there on curving all of a sudden. I think it was a mistake there. Oh, it just went wide, extremely wide on turn 1, and that's curving simply passing through. without any particular issue. Kozlowski here, it's still, I forget the Ford has the camera's issue. It's not me simply forgetting which button makes what. Now Senatore has another opponent. It's still another Binvu, but this time it is Ek in the number 86, who has been gaining some time every single lap. In this lap, for example, he gained 7 times on the Italian driver in 5th place, who is still in front of Ligner, and he is about to create another train with different passengers. But it's quite clear that Senatore is struggling a lot compared to the two behind. But until they do something, aka undercut, there isn't really any idea that it could work, as Hill follows my advice. Oh, there's a lot of actually front-end damage. Oh, yeah, he definitely crashed somewhere. So my theory of him simply going wide doesn't really have much backing. I wonder if he will repair the car, and if so, how much time he will lose. As now we get into the 36th minute, usually the RTO guys are the ones who usually jump in the pits around this time. Will it be the same? The answer is no, actually. They will stay out. Usually they are the ones who pit at the 37th, 45th minute, undercutting everyone. This time it's slightly different. 59.8 for both Sedlowski and Vats, with Whitburn posting down a 59.6. Illigner and Ek both with their fastest lap so far, 59.9 for both drivers, eating 4 tenths away from Senatore, but still he is in front. And until he is there, well, he will remain there. And it's curious to think that Ek was actually the one involved in the incident with Resvik early on, but in 20 minutes roughly, in 20 minutes he managed to gain back all the time he lost. And now he is behind both Illigner and Senatore, but that's for 5th place. So it was a pit with damage repair. It was a 23 seconds damage repair for Hill. So it's difficult to think he will gain any position from this undercut. As now the gap between Whitburn and Sedlowski is actually 1.2 seconds. So it's possible there was another mistake for Sedlowski somewhere around the track, as his gap is now there in the middle. Still 1.2, 1.1 around that one, as the 511 is... Oh no, wait, it's the... Oh, it's the 555. Oh wait, it's 555 again, having issues. Oh, this is a spin. There was a spin for the 555. Trying to get back in the racetrack and going to the wrong, towards the wrong side of the course, nearly hitting Terence Keenan in the 78. As Idrigner jumped the gun and went into the pits to try to overtake Senatore. As Whitburn also posted his best personal record, 59.5. Still not the fastest lap of the race, which is a 59.2. So this time around is going to be sure someone will go into the pits of this three. Nothing happens. So oddly enough, unless because there is also this chance here, they go into the pits without changing tires. A Senatore goes into the pits and Eck becomes your 5th placed runner, with Forbes very close, all of these two, the McLaren ahead of Carving in 13th place. Both Senatore and Schneiderman into the pits. Still remains behind. Nothing going on there. Another 10th has been lost from Whitburn for Sedlowski, with Vats actually putting down a 4 tenths gap to Whitburn, who set a 59.6 in the last lap. It was a 2:00.0 for Vats, nearly 2 minutes flat, as Lammers made a mistake. Did he go wide, or did he hit the wall? No, he just cut completely the chicane. Nergard is also behind Forbes for 11th place. So a little look at information about the season actually gives me right to think that all the cars in front currently, Whitburn, Sadlowski, Vats, Eck, likely Russell, will not refuel the car, will not change the tires, apologies. So they will stay as both Corving and Nergard in the pits. I'm starting to think that all the cars in front will go into the pits to refuel the car, but not to change tires, which gives an advantage of 5 seconds and thus an important advantage over the cars behind. Obviously not if everybody goes on the same tactic. So they think that going long with fuel will actually give them more of an advantage compared to going for a full change. Which is interesting. They likely think that they will not lose that much time in the mountain part. Not really agreeing on this theory. It's either that or they are really putting a very late move. As Whitburn clearly made another choice here, he goes into the pits, same goes for the Ford, nearly hitting the Honda, and same goes for Vats. So with 27 to go, so you can see from behind the Ford jumping a lot of time, breaking in time, but that actually gave some advantage to Sadlowski on Whitburn, as the two cars are one behind the other, as Eck goes for another lap. So I'm really starting to think that they are trying to cover the cars which went for a complete change. And apparently I was right for Whitburn. So Whitburn didn't change the tires. Sadlowski actually did change the tires, and Vats did the same. So I'm not really understanding this idea. So Keenan, so did Senatore, so did Ligner, so did Rochelle, so did Lammers, so did Jordan, so practically everybody went for the same, except Whitburn and very likely at this point Eckford and Brown. As both Rochelle and Ligner are one after the other, and Senatore, after going into the pits so early, gained a massive 5 seconds advantage over the McLaren driver in 716. So I'm not really comprehending this idea. But we'll see as the time goes on. In the meantime, Sadlowski has a 7 seconds gap to recover. Although that might have been damage repair for Sadlowski, as that would make more sense. But still, I don't understand Vats' situation. Oh, there is a contact! Ooh, that was extremely close to the end. Okay, that's the second time that happens. I think there is a pattern here. So Brown collided not one time, but twice on the same car, battling for position practically, which Brown can obviously do. Doesn't really make any sense. This was I saw this one here, unfortunately. I wanted the one earlier. It will not show up, unfortunately. As Eck exited the pits just behind Senatore. So even Eck went for the tire change. I don't understand why doing it so late. Because it actually just makes you lose time. As Brown here is keeping the situation in a lot of tension by hitting the car behind twice. And now Sadowski has a 10 seconds gap on Whitburn. I really think that oh, Illinois is off! Ooh, something happened here to the car number 716. Oh, he just lost the rear and completely crashed the car into the wall. Sadowski easily passed the Brown. This time around, the Brown didn't collide with the Ford. And now he will stay in front of Watts to again defend the position. Unless a move happens here in turn 1. 201.4. Lost another second in its lap. So yeah, it's clear that Brown is not really keen on helping anybody else on different tactics. The issue is that by doing so, he actually loses more time than by letting the others pass by, since he is on a completely different strategy than anybody else. So apparently the only car that did, well, the only two cars that did this tactic are, oh, this is important as Watts and Keenan. Oh, there is a contact for Keenan as he was trying to pass Brown for position, for on-track position, and Keenan simply got loose by doing so, and now he has some damage to the left of the car, and I wonder if there is also, oh, there is Brown into the wall. Oh, Brown heavily into the wall. Was it all on his own, or was it helped? It was all on his own. He just put the car straight into the wall. As now Senatore will go for the move. On the outside he tries. And now it becomes the inside, with Brown letting the two cars pass by. And now he goes back into the pit. I'm very confused by the behavior in itself. Mainly because he practically lost every single advantage he could have had by that point. Now Eck is Center are both fighting for 5th place yet again, as Illigner is not in the race anymore. As Lammers is also battling with the Ferrari ahead of Schneidman for the 2nd place in silver class, after Jordan practically closed the doors on the chance to get a lead of the silver class. 5 seconds away from Schneidman. There is a battle for 4th in class between Doyle and Nergard. So this is not really a battle for 4th in class, it's rather a battle for 11th. But none of this, Nergard is simply gaining places, as Brown is now in 18th place, 6 seconds behind Stricker. As Schneidman made a mistake! Oh, he lost completely the 2nd place, and he is now in the middle of the racetrack. So, oh, he lost the rear completely and threw the car into the wall. Now he's back on his wheels, but likely heading for the pizza. As I think he will retire directly from the race. He was second in class, and now he will be likely in the last places. Well, likely, surely in the last places. Which promotes Doyle to third in class. As the gap between Sadlowski and Whitburn has been reduced to 7.7, so Whitburn's idea of going long is not really going in his side. He lost an entire second in the last lap. In 7 laps, Sadlowski will be within Whitburn's boundaries. So 14 minutes roughly. So we could have a last lap fight for the lead. And you can see from here, Whitburn doesn't have any problem in terms of blue flagged cars. It's all on his own. Still, I don't understand the tactic of going so long then for Sadlowski, who clearly has new tires. Instead of going short, possibly they thought at this point that it would have been better to stay out until the majority of the field was still yet to pit. But unfortunately for Sadlowski, there was an Aston Martin in the middle of their plans. Now he has to gain back everything. He made a 59.4, so he is definitely pushing, and his teammate behind did the same, 59.4. But in the last lap they both gained, obviously, 1.3 seconds. And Jordan, okay, just made a mistake going wide. We can see it back. So this is your leader in silver class. He goes into the curb a bit wide, just outside of the track limits, but nothing to worry too much about. Oh, that was a huge hit for Eck, going very fast into the wall as Forbes and Corving are side by side with Corving on inside. He wants the place on Forbes, but it doesn't happen, and he will stay in 5th place in class. With Nergard, who is in 11th, and still following Doyle. At this point, I just think Nergard will stay behind, since his closest opponent in front is 30 seconds ahead, and his closest opponent behind is 13. So he likely will just stay there where he is. As Eck is extremely close to Senatore in front, but for now the Italian remains in 5th place. Last lap it was a 59.8 for Senatore, so definitely not a slow lap. A 59.9 for Eck last time around. It's quite obvious that this time it's going to be slightly different, since I think an improvement will happen in terms of time. No, actually it's the absolute opposite. I was actually fooled by the fact that he gained everything back. Ooh, that was very close between the two. After colliding with the wall in turn 9, I think it was Solomon Park. As the overtake happens here and Eck is in front. It was a very odd situation there, was it? Okay, I will be honest. I don't know why. Senatore let Eck pass by. But I don't understand the reason. I really don't understand why this happened. Very curious to see if anyone in chat has an idea. Is first is learning? Yes. No, he isn't actually. He was in at the very beginning of the race, but unfortunately he has been involved in a crash with a Porsche of Veldman, and he collided head-on into the wall, so he was unable to finish the race after that. As we started with 27 drivers, we just have 20 now. And Sadlowski gained another 1.5 seconds on Whitburn, which practically destroys the initial projection of 7 laps to, well, obviously 3 have passed. I think in 2 laps we could already see everything unfolding, so in 4 minutes, so we could have something even earlier than the final lap of the race, although now there are some cars with blue flag being shown. Assetto is just 3 seconds, 0.8 away from the lead of the race with new tires, some damage, but nothing to worry about. And he has to be lucky because he has to encounter them on the straight, which I think he will, narrowly. Oh wait, it completely... Ah no, it's actually close. Oh, he actually is lucky. Car in front was Whitburn in 20th place, and he has let him pass easily. So I don't really think he also lost anything at all. Should be very helpful for the Ford driver. As you can see, the British here, the 6-0 car, has a 3 seconds only advantage over Sadlowski, who will aggressively blink the Mustang's lights. 3 seconds, you can see there. Only 1 second this time around, compared to the 1.5 of the usual. But it was actually down to Whitburn to make it, since he set at 2:00.5 compared to the 59.5 of Sadlowski, which is still in line of his times. 10 minutes to go, 5 laps to go, and we could have a fight in 2 laps. And then it's just going to be a difference in top speed. And certainly... Oh, there was a mistake there for Whitburn. There was a huge mistake there. I think he lost... He definitely lost 1.5 seconds only for that, but I think he lost the rear. In fact, he did lost the rear and also collided with the wall. Narrowly did. He narrowly did. It was odd the way he lost the rear. But now the gap is just 1 second. You can see the gap is shrinking. Is shrinking as the seconds pass by in an extreme and rapid way. At the end of the first sector, the gap was 2.7 seconds. At the end of the second sector, the gap is 6 times. Actually, no, 5. So we actually have the battle for the lead at this very lap, as the 511 is having issues at the start of the second straight. Not the start-finish one, but the mountain straight. But we'll stay with this battle, obviously. But I really think that the Ford will have a good advantage over Whitburn as this battle for the lead goes on, as Doyle lost the place on Nergard. I don't see any yellow flags, so he's still on track. And in third place in class, which is the important bit. As Eck is now 6 times only away from Keenan. In all of this, it's quite clear that the strategy of changing tires was heavily by miles better than the one of not changing tires. Now he just has to stay there and stay put, and Doyle goes into the pits. He was in third in class, so something clearly happened to the number 12. So now Forbes actually gets promoted to third in class, 8 minutes away from the end of the race. So Sadowski already preparing the best possible exit speed. Although with this car I don't really think you have to prepare it, you just have to press the accelerator. That's your whole tactic of getting the speed up. And as a matter of fact, this happens even before the turn. It does. He goes on outside, he brakes later than Whitburn. No contact between the two, and that's going to be Sedlowski's idea of a win. With a Ford not only defending the inside for a moment, but knowing that he has more rubber than the car behind, which can't really make anything out of that. And all of this brings Vats to the chance to make it in second place, putting out a 1-2 for RTO. And a very important goal for the team. Già in chat together su team call. Which one do you mean? Because if you mean the one of going so late, it was rather an idea of, I don't understand why going so late, but I don't know when, or rather I don't know in regard of what you posted a message there. So unfortunately I have the chat sometimes in front of me, since I am not on 2 monitors. So Sedlowski already set a second of advantage in the last 2 sectors, and now Vats has diminished the gap between himself and the car in front by 1 second. He's now 1.5 seconds away, and he'll gain the place on Brown. You can see here the battle between the McLaren and Aston Martin, with the McLaren going very close to the edge of the racetrack and getting the inside, covering the outside, and taking the place on Brown in 15th place. Keenan here, on the other hand, is trying to defend against Eck, who gained 4 seconds in the last laps. With 5 minutes to go, I'm thinking, yes, there are still 3 laps to go. So Sedlowski has to stay there without making mistakes, and Vats has 3 laps to go to make it in second place. As here, you can see from the mirror, and the virtual mirror, the 2 cars are glued together, but only one of those cars will be in 4th place by the end of the race. Furthermore, I didn't say what are the current standings. Currently, let us see that Whitburn is in front of Revzik by 14 points. It's going to be way more after tonight's round, since Revzik didn't participate in the third round, and since there is a drop round in this championship, Revzik is now in a lot of troubles, championship-wise. Then behind it is Wishorke, who is not participating in this round. He was on 170, and he will say he actually had an 8th place in the first round, so he will jump a bit of positions, but he will lose some gap from the lead of the championship. Zach was thinking about something there, but nothing has to happen. Terence Keenan is in 4th place in championship, and Dan Watts is in 5th with Zach Dahl behind. With Sadlowski's best finish being a 6th place in the third round. So this is actually a good jump for Sadlowski. Until now he didn't even reach top 5, and tonight he could win the race. So definitely a good race for Sadlowski there. In silver class is slightly different, as we still have a look from Keenan's wing. So I'm also looking at the gap between Whitburn and Watts. In silver class, Paul Sims is in the front of the championship with 172 points. A little mistake there for Eck. Lammers is in 2nd place, 160 points, and Karner is in 3rd with 157. David Hill is with 152 points. With the championship being very good in qualifying sessions, but he lost it all for now already twice in the race. Current leader in silver class, Matt Jordan, in 8th place, already won a round. It was round number 2. So this will be the 2nd win for Jordan, as the leader took the white flag, 1.7 seconds ahead of Whitburn, and now in a sort of conservative position. Obviously he really doesn't want to throw it all. Whitburn still has a 7/10 advantage over Watts, and Keenan has a 3/10 advantage over Eck, with Forbes in 3rd place in class, still being 5/10 away in front of Carving. But there was a little mistake there for Keenan. But in this part, no move can be made. You can just stay as close as possible, and you have to wait for a huge mistake or for an absurd overtake in an impossible manner, which could happen. But this is important. This could be the 1-2 for RTO. Although yes, I know that Matt Whitburn has RTO written underneath his name, but until I see the delivery, I will not be sure about it. But I think Watts doesn't have the speed to take advantage of the Honda. He will stay behind. He will definitely stay behind. So this puts Sadlowski on his first win of the season, and who knows, maybe not last, as everything still has to happen. And this will be Zalowski's first win of the season in Bathurst with Whitburn, but following behind. Keenan just narrowly ends in front of Eck in 5th place, with Senatore behind in 6th, only 1 second in front of Rochelle in 7th place for DXT Motorsport. Matt Jordan will have his second win of the season here in Bathurst. 2.4 seconds in front of Lammers, as Brown overtakes Hill at the very end there. But Jordan in the 105 will win the race in Bathurst with Lammers following behind. Nergard is in the top 10. Unfortunately 8th in Pro Class. With Forbes effectively keeping the podium and staying in 11th place for us racing team, with Corving just behind in 12th place. Then Kasitarash is in 13th. Medorazov gets in 14th with heavy damage to the car. With Brown in 15th, and still a little fight between the 16th and 17th placed Seeker and Hill, with the Dutchman in 16th place. Again, I'm saying Seeker, but just because I think it's how you say it in Dutch. Since I know that Dutch language is towards the German rather than towards the English. The way of saying things. So Brown in 14th, in 15th place, 16th for Striker and Hill in 17th place. Then Sims, Whitburn, Doyle, Schneidman, Illigner, Vellman, Schneider, Revsvik, Campos, and then Firth in 27th place. So this was tonight's round in tonight's round in Bathurst with the 27 drivers that participated in it. Next time around it's going to be Paul Ricard on September 19th, and then it's going to be the final 2 rounds with Zolder and Suzuka ending the championship. But until then, I'm Chris Romano. Be sure to follow the race even next time, and until then,